Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, something disturbing happened recently. A few days ago, there was a raid at a gay bar in America. It was a bar in Pennsylvania, a local sort of iconic local bar called P-Town, and there was a drag queen there called Indica who was performing, and they had a very big guest star. They had Amanda Lepore, who's a famous drag performer from the 80s and 90s. And basically the police, came in. There were like 20 of them with bulletproof vests and armed and everything, and they basically ordered everyone out. They gave no real explanations. They didn't speak to anyone. They didn't look anyone in the eye. They just ordered everyone out into the rain on the street. They emptied the bar, and apparently, supposedly, it's involved with the Liquor Control Board. They were calling it a compliance check, but if you know what a compliance check is, basically a couple of police go into a bar, have a look around, talk to the bartender, check everything is fine, and then they leave. Now, I've seen a couple of actual compliance checks. I've been in a gay bar when these have happened, and it's very simple. If the police weren't wearing a uniform, you wouldn't even know it happened, because they have to be uniform when they come in. But this was not that. Basically, they were intimidating people. They like said, they were, staging this event where they made everyone go outside and stand out in the rain, and they wouldn't let them back in. I think they only let like 70 people back in or something, and why they let some and not others, I don't know. But they basically ended the night. They killed the night, they ruined the night, and that was the plan. That was what they were there for. There was nothing to be, I'm sure there was nothing there to actually, search out or anything. They just were using this as an example to intimidate the gay community and let them know that, we are under threat, because in the new regime, we are on the list of things that they want to, deal with, because part of making America great again is taking, the gays back to the 60s. Because if you don't know anything about history, back in the 60s, basically gay people were considered mentally ill. Gay people were put in jail for having relations with each other, and people lost their jobs, lost their families, they were abused. The police regularly, allegedly, would roll into bars regularly and just beat gay people up and terrorise them and jail any of them that they could. This is something that happened regularly until a couple of drag queens, I think they're trans drag queens or trans women, in a bar called Stonewall turned around and said they had enough of this. And that was the Stonewall riot, when they resisted the police for the first time. And that began the gay movement in America. And it followed in Australia in a similar event where we had a Pride March, or a march, and the police absolutely destroyed it and brutalised people, and it was seen by the public as too much. And that was something that also happened again in the 90s. We had a similar event where we had a club called Tasty raided, and my ex was actually there, so I've heard about it in person, in detail. Basically the police came in, they turned everything up and, put people in different rooms and made them strip and do searches and all these things, and there was no reason to do it other than to try and intimidate us like the good old days. But unfortunately, Australia wasn't having it. It was seen for what it was, and it was, it basically backfired, and it actually helped the gay civil rights movement take a step forward, because people could really see that this was just, backwards and wrong, and it actually helped us. But it's very worrying. Like we know that marriage equality and a lot of trans rights and all these things are under attack in the US, and it's a deliberate mandate from certain people, and they want to take things back. They want to reverse things and take it back to where gay people were in the closet or in hospital or in jail basically, and had no rights and no visibility, and they want to put it back to that. Now, fortunately, they're not Russia yet, and they weren't able to confiscate people's phones and their property or anything, because had they done that, maybe we would have seen incidents of violence where there were no witnesses, because now everyone has a phone. They can't just start beating people up and get away with it anymore, because we've seen what happens with incidents like with George Floyd and so forth. But it's disturbing, because as a gay man, I've seen gay rights just go forward and forward and forward my whole life, have a forward momentum. And the idea that Harvey Milk, I think, gave us was, they can't vilify us and make us into the boogeyman if we're not hiding in the closet. So come out, show them who you are, and once they see we're people just like them, they won't be able to make us out to be boogeymen and be able to, do that anymore, other us and make us the enemy. And we did that, and it worked, and we slowly got rights and equality, but it started to reverse lately, where people are wanting to go back and turn it around, and we haven't really had any progress with that yet. But there are definitely people who have, the people in the political realm who have made statements in that, and certain groups in that. So it is scary to think that things could go back and be turned back, partly because now we are all out, and it's all online. It's not like we can go back in the closet if the laws change and we're suddenly literally under attack. Where are we going to hide? It's kind of scary, because when we're all coming out, we weren't thinking things could ever go back. We're just thinking things are going to go forward. So this is terrifying on one level. Essentially, the raid was truthful, so because they didn't really hurt anyone, but they were trying to show us that this is their intention, where they want to go, and where they're intending to go. It's just whether or not they can or not, whether people will stand for it, whether they can put us back in the closet, and convince people we're boogeyman anymore. They've managed to convince people that trans people are scary and bad and everything, but that's because there's so few of them and they're so different in a way to straight people, whereas it's harder to sort of create that boogeyman with the gays. But the trans people, they're getting it. So I don't know where this is going to go, but it's terrifying on one level. And it's the first time in my life that I've worried about things going backwards, and that I might have trouble in the future as a gay man. So hopefully none of this happens. Hopefully this is seen for what it is, and the American people and people in general, don't accept this and see it for what it is. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this incident and what it could mean and where it could lead to and so forth. And let's just hope it doesn't.